All right, ladies and gentlemen, Operation Sports, EA Sports, and anybody else is watching. I got another breakdown here of Brocken issues, but here's this one's a little different. This is going to be a little bit longer, so bear with me. But it takes a lot to break down exactly what's going on here, and unlike a lot of others, offer something that can actually be used to fix it. At least in terms of just general logic. I'm not a programmer, but I know what has to happen to make it work. Now, the easy thing to say is add a physics engine. Anybody that plays this game on a significant level knows that the biggest problem with NCAA and Madden is that there's no actual physics in this game. Things just kind of happen. As you can see, what I have here is what looks like a pretty good run up the middle and, for a big game, which, should be fine. However, what I did here was exploit the AI. And you find out as you play this game that the only way you can get any success on offense is to exploit the computer artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence does not abide by the same laws and rules that you do. And I'll explain why and how in a second. When this game has an interaction between offensive and defensive linemen, or any blocker and defender, there's three possible outcomes. Outcome number one is number 64 on your right, my right tackle, as you see, hopefully there on the right. All right, when the ball is hiked, he completely pancakes his guy. Okay? I should be happy about that, but I'm kind of not, because I just know it was mostly, computer BS, but whatever. Completely pancakes his guy. Okay? Option two is 73, the block of 73 and 84, where they're engaged and they're pushed back a little bit. But as soon as I get the ball, as you can see at the bottom of the screen right there, I'm just getting the ball. They get a pushback, which I should be happy about. But as soon as I get the ball and head towards the hole, they shed their blockers completely in the exact same animation. As you can look and kind of tell. All right. And then option three is 72 on his blitzing linebacker. And I don't know why he didn't chip this defensive end right here. I don't know. I guess it worked out in the end because all the linebackers blitz, which is a whole other issue. But he meets his defender, and there's more of a give and take attrition before he's eventually shed with, again, the exact same animation. Now, what's the problem here? Well, the first problem is this. It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic on several levels, and it messes things up on several levels. The reason why this play worked was not because I had good blocking. Hell, my blocking was atrocious. I had one good block in one pancake on a double team, and everybody else is completely penetrated. If you look, by the time I'm hitting the hole, I have three people in the backfield and two unblocked defenders. Look at that. I hope that's not hard to see. Let me zoom out. This is basically when I hit the hole. I have three people in the backfield and two unblocked defenders that just shed their blocks. So it's not because of good blocking. The reason why I got a big gain on this is because I played this game enough to know how to exploit the defense. I know that the computer, I don't know what to call it, but they pretty much read your button presses. If the computer recognizes that you are pressing to the right to move your ball carrier to the right, then their players will immediately start moving to their right before you actually move to your right. They'll shed their blockers to their left to meet you there. And so I know that by doing that, I will trick the computer into going into these animations. And while they're still going through the animation, if I do it well enough and I time it well enough, I can find a hole that pretty much shouldn't be there because it's a hole they're vacating. And then it makes it worse, so I do get a broken tackle here. Whoop-de-doo. That's a whole other issue. I forgot about that crap right there, where the cornerback, as soon as the ball is hiked, immediately starts running towards the play, which happens whenever you do any type of running play to their side when they're in the zone. But that's a whole other issue of computer exploits and cheating. So here's the other issue. So these blockers get shed. They completely fail at their duty of opening up that hole, right? But then they immediately head upfield to get other blocks. I break a tackle, and now I have three extra blockers upfield because they let all these guys slide down. All right. Now, if I had a faster running back, I'd have ran for a touchdown. Unfortunately, I don't. But the problem here is the unrealism. What should happen with every blocking interaction? The win or loss should not be calculated through an animation where one guy is thrown to the side or thrown to the ground. Because in real life, unless you're Reggie White and Donald Sue, Julius Peppers, that doesn't happen that often. But this happens all the time in NCAA. In fact, basically, you know if your play is going to be effective based on who it gets thrown to the ground or thrown to the side. And it creates this unrealistic, exploitative version of football that just is not very fun to play, at least for players like me. So for another example of how this works, I'll go back here. And I can show almost all these plays and it has the same problem, but I want to look at something else. So here's a passing play, a couple of plays later. All right, got to zoom out here, so bear with me. So here we have 4 wide, 4 down linemen, shotgun formation, etc. Again, I am running a spread offense. Excuse me. So, cornerbacks blitz, and I don't have a problem with that. One defensive lineman drops back in a zone blitz. That seems pretty good. They set up a pocket, but EA, this is not a pocket. This is not what a pocket looks like. Offensive linemen, and again, I'm not an expert, but I do know a little bit. Offensive linemen would never run out to reach a blocker. That does not happen. They would try to create a pocket. The whole point of creating a pocket is for everybody to shift linemen, defensive linemen, around the quarterback, allowing him to step up into open throwing lanes and make a throw. Not to create a line of defenders, a wall of defenders in front of him. Because what happens way too often, in fact, is what happens to number 69 right here as I zoom back in. Number 69, who's, by the way, is my best offensive lineman, 92 rated overall. This defensive tackle is 90 overall. He is engaged and immediately shed. You know, without even a strong move there. He just kind of pushes him to the side. Now, again, here's the problem. In real life, when quarterbacks get sacked, they get sacked because the pocket collapses around them. Because defenders push the offensive lineman into the quarterback's face. That's what quarterback pressure is like. Quarterback pressure is very, very, very rarely a defensive lineman completely removing the offensive block and getting a free run to the quarterback, which, of course, results in a sack because there's no way to react to that. Not at least not in the game. And I have this on very slow. But there's no way to react to that. And that shouldn't happen. Now, if this blitz was to work, then maybe there would be some confusion, but there was no confusion. But these guys would get a good push up front by the quote-unquote front 7, the front 4. And the defenders would push themselves into the quarterback's face, causing him to panic, have pressure, throw a bad ball, whatever. Now, maybe they can, rearrange the ratings to have that work. But the point here I'm making is that the animations that trigger here trigger way too often. Every animation, now if you move over to number 64 here, or 73, this is what should happen. You see how he's getting pushed back? That shows a pass rush. Well, it doesn't show it very well. He's getting pushed back into the side. That's hopefully opening up a lane for the quarterback to throw in. And if this was going to be a quote-unquote win for the defensive lineman, he should be able to bull rush him straight back or put a move on him to get to his side to beat him. But even in beating him, the offensive lineman would still be engaged. And what that does is it creates opportunity for quarterbacks, for players, I should say, to maneuver their quarterbacks within the pocket. And that creates realism. I shouldn't have to look at my offensive line first to see if all of my guys have been pancaked to know how much time I have to throw the ball. I should be able to use, my ability to recognize what's going on and move accordingly. But the unrealism of the game basically plays itself for me. And in the end, that's just not very fun. Now, a physics engine would fix a lot of this, something like they had in Backbreaker, or I hate to bring it up, but 2K2, years ago. But this can be fixed through just animation logic. They need to take out the propensity for defenders to shed blockers like they do to my left over here, and exchange that propensity to have more give and take, push and pull interaction between offensive and defensive linemen, so that there is no more cheating on both sides. Because when you're playing the computer, and this is not just an offensive line interaction, it's with the way that the defenders react, the plays that the defense calls that almost always seem to know exactly what you're doing. All those things need to change. All right, this is getting really long, so I'll cut it off there, but I hope somebody catches this and gets the information.